Reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. Hey friends and people, it's been a while. For those of you who are not aware, I am Samwise, naturalist, adventurer, host of this here garbage channel on YouTube, mother of 12, human being, allegedly. On this web zone, I host outdoorsy things, videos about them. You know, things, and outdoorsy things. And I'm afraid this video will not be particularly outdoorsy, so if you're here for that content, I'm sorry, you're just getting a typical bog standard vlog thing where I just talk about what's going on and why there's been so much radio silence on my channel lately. So things have been difficult. 2022 was a particularly difficult year for me. Just everything kind of hit me all at once. It began in January when I contracted COVID, as I mentioned in my last year's update. Even though I was fully vaccinated, it still led to some lasting fatigue issues well into May. And while I tried to keep up just being a full-time and then some employee, plus a full-time and then some father of 2 young kids, it got away from me. Additionally, by the time I had recovered from the initial COVID time, I found out that my grandfather had become ill and was hospitalized, and I was able to visit him just before he passed away. He was unfortunately no longer conscious at that time. I arrived just in time for us to take him off the ventilator, and it was hard. He was very influential to me. I am largely an outdoorsman because of him, because he would take me hunting and fishing as a child, and because he taught me to shoot and to understand how animals interact, that we're all just part of an ecosystem, and that everything is interdependent. I wanted to do a little, I don't know, memorial video for him, but it just never had the opportunity. My schedule was just too wild. I think the hardest thing about his loss was the fact that because of my workload, I was never able to properly grieve him. That it just was like, I was there, we took him off the ventilator, I cried with my parents and my sister, and then I had to go home and I had to go and work a 6-day week. There was just no chance to just stop and breathe and recuperate and process the fact that I had lost this towering influence in my life. And it was really difficult. And I don't know, I think a lot of my reticence with my work here was just because I just didn't have the emotional wherewithal to process anything I was doing. Getting sick, some financial setbacks, losing my granddad, it all kind of culminated in this kind of whirlwind of self-hate and exhaustion and anxiety and stress and depression that it just made it difficult for me to do anything. Like, you know, even my wife was commenting that I just wasn't present. I wasn't there. I was just kind of going through the motions, and it showed. It also had some unfortunate side effects. A company, Right on Trek, had given me some free meals to review, and I actually nearly completed the videos before I lost it all and lost my ability to just do things, and everything just kind of fell apart, and I ended up leaving the project nearly done and abandoned, and I feel bad because the folks at Right on Trek were really rad. Additionally, I was working on a deal with the folks for Vite Ramen to do some reviews, and that fell through too. So I'm trying to pick those pieces back up right now. Additionally, you know, there have been some economic downturns for me too. My career as a part-time headless Thompson gunner is very heavily dependent on the real estate market because I'm a class trader. With these issues with the interest rate going up and low inventory and these big corporations gobbling up all the housing, there hasn't been a lot of work for me, and so it means I basically lost about half of my typical revenue this last year. I had to pick up working a night job at a grocery store in order to make ends meet, and even then I'm just barely doing it. So I'm working 2 jobs, I'm sleeping maybe 5 hours in the afternoon, and then, you know, back at it. And there are days where I won't even see my kids. I'll get off my night job and change my clothes and go to my day job, and then work until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then go home and then go immediately to bed. And it's not life. That said, I can't complain. I do enjoy that night job. It's weird. I mean, I am a people watcher, and very interesting people come into a grocery store that's open 24 hours in a small town. We are literally the only thing that's open late, and so people just go there and hang out. There will be people who will be just kind of browsing around when I show up. And then I'll come back from lunch hours later and they'll still be in the store just kind of like poking around, because I guess that's the only game in town. It's very interesting. I don't hate it. I just hate the situation. Whenever I get kind of overloaded, I think about one of my favorite phrases, and that is, let this radicalize you rather than leave you to despair. And boy howdy, I'm ready to start chucking some Molotov.
Telling you, Molotov cocktails work. Anytime I had a problem and I threw a Molotov cocktail, boom, right away. I had a different problem.
He makes a strong case.
It hasn't all been terrible. My second daughter was born in June, and she is just an absolute delight. When I do get home and I do get to see her, her whole face just lights up when she sees me. She is just the most amazing thing ever, and I'm just so happy that she's in my life. And like, I don't care if I have to change a diaper. I don't even care if it's like a big blowout diaper. I don't care if she's screaming. I'm just happy to be with her and just know she's there and taking care of her. And the final thing I'm kind of going through is I'm still wrestling with whether this channel is something I want to do anymore. When I started this channel, God, 8 years ago now, I had a lot more time to be able to do these things, one, and two, the outdoor community wasn't really big on YouTube. It was a lot of independent people who were small. Now it's just consolidated to a handful of people who kind of monopolize the discussion. And I also feel like I don't really belong with the popular trends. Like, I'm not a thru hiker, I'm not super UL, and I'm not super charismatic, and I don't have the resources financially to be able to buy new gear and review it week after week after week after week. I'm just an aspiring amateur who just wants to, I don't know, create for the sake of creating. And I don't feel like I belong here anymore. Which means, ultimately, I still want to continue with my plans I discussed in my prior update video from last January, which was that I wanted to focus more on more nature content, more naturalist content. I still want to do hiking, and I still want to do backpacking videos, but I also want to be able to just go and talk about plant cultures, or not cultures, plant ecologies when I go on a hike. I want to be able to go and talk about rocks and geology and, you know, really kind of put my naturalist cert to work. I think that would be really rad. Additionally, it's something that makes me excited. And that's, I think, the big thing that's going to be happening with this channel now is I'm not strictly going to be doing backpacking and outdoors content. I'm going to do content that I just want to do. Things that engage me and make me feel excited. So there still will be outdoors content, and there still will be adventure videos, and there still will be backpacking gear and camping gear discussion, but I might just go and talk about stolen land. I might just go and talk about Toyota T100s. I might just go and talk about, you know, ducks. It depends on what comes up. And I've kind of reached the point where it's like, hey, people who want to watch that stuff, they're going to like it. And people who don't, well, fuck them. I don't care. This is my channel. I'm going to do things my way. And, you know, this new direction is exciting to me because the last few times I've tried doing camping videos, I ended up just kind of therapeutically hiking and getting lost in the moment. And I just couldn't devote the mental resources to making content or videos on my own. I just needed to get out and hike, and it sucks because I want to create. I'm not doing this because I feel obligated to. I do it because I grew up watching Survivor Man, and I was like, man, I want to do stuff like that. I love the way he does things, and I want to be able to do fun things like that and kind of have that kind of interpersonal relationship with folks while I'm, you know, lighting a fire or something. I think that's rad. So I'm hoping that by continuing to retool things, I'll be able to just get more excited and just do things for me. And if it helps people, that would be rad. I don't know. You know, at the end of the day, I enjoy making my garbage videos, and I enjoy chatting with you folks in the comments and seeing how I can help people. I mean, just the other day, someone reached out to Reddit on one of my posts about Lake Sonoma and ask for input and guidance on how to plan a trip, and that meant the world to me because I was able to just go and like talk about, hey, the trails are really nice and developed, and there's, you know, they're developed campsites, and it's a great fun trip, and you should do it. That's what I want to do. And so, you know, the helpful stuff is still going to happen. The fun stuff that I do is still going to happen. It's just going to be more diverse. It's going to be more interesting. It's going to be more from the heart. I'm less concerned about whether it meets expectations so much as it makes me feel like I'm doing something. Anywho, thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I would appreciate it if you would just, you know, gently caress that like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you have any insights or ideas or suggestions for things to do, please put it in the comments down below. I will gladly write back because I am desperate for attention. And just thank you.